got the CBT thing, computer-based test, 100% full-blown, and it, taking a different uh, direction from what we has always known. The WAEC that has been written, examination written for years with the pen and paper and the pencil and all of those things. And the plotting the lines, they are saying it's going to be CBT. Many concerns, many gray areas to say if you can have it in the cities, the Abujas, the Lagos, the Port Harcourts, the Oshogbos, maybe some part of Oshogbo as well. The last WAEC examination that was done didn't come without its own glitches. Students wrote into the night and nothing really happened. Now they are going ahead with it. You are in this business. You have been in it for long. And not because anybody is being pessimistic this morning. We are just being realistic. Do you think we are ripe for that? Another question is, when we say, if you don't start, when do we start?
Well, let me tell you straight away that the world is not going to slow down for you. It's not going to wait and let you grow up. So we have to grow up, and in growing up and in trying to do some of these things, yes, there will be glitches. Maybe not 100% is what WAEC is saying. I'm not sure that any examination will be exactly 100% CBT.
That's what
computer. But even if they are going to go 100% computer based, I'm sure it would be faced. I can't think for WAEC, but I know that there are brilliant people there who would know that you can't just jump into water without, you want to go and swim, you just jump straight into the water without taking a shower and seeing a little bit of what it is like to have cold water on your body. So I expect that they will still do it in phases. But whether it is feasible or not, we'll have no choice than to do it. I have always said that we need electricity in this country. Thank God now the electricity has been taken off the exclusive list. So states can now, in fact, in partnership with private entities, go into generation, distribution, and transmission of electricity. So we need to work on that. Let everybody get involved and let there be enough electricity to go around. And let me remind you, this is Osun State. And we once had a governor here. Look, when I see anything good about any governor, I will say it. And when I see anything bad about such governors, this particular governor, he is always harassing me when he sees me that I used to criticize him too much. But there's something good that he did. So sometimes I remind him that, but I also say, because people just think you should be shouting hallelujah around them. Yes, I would always criticize Rauf Aregbesola about so many things. But he brought Opoimo into Osun. And I'm not happy with Oyetola. Neither am I happy with Adeleke, that none of them has thought of sustaining that thing. I put it in my manifesto when I wanted to contest, when I contested to be governor of Osun State, that was one thing that I will sustain. And by now, our children would have been used to computer-based technology and education more than ever before. So it will just have been a seamless transition for them. We are missing that now because the governments of Oyetola and Adeleke missed it completely. Now, you can say, oh, there were errors with Opoimo. In fact, some people will tell me, oh, Opoimo was a scam. Rauf Aregbesola just used it to steal money. Which government has not stolen money in any case, and which one is not stealing right now? But we saw something that he put on ground, even if he stole some of the money. I don't care. So, but now, if we now had that Opoimo, it would have continued, and we would now be in a position. And there was one more thing with the Opoimo that he did at that time. He got a lot of the books packed onto the Opoimo.
The software.
The software. So now talking about the feasibility of the new curriculum. What they need to do is put those things in soft copies and let teachers roll out, let each state, because it can still be done. I do not want to always be pessimistic about everything in this country. I think of the way out. The way out now, give this thing for me to handle. This is how I will handle it. As bad as it is right now, get textbooks related to those, and some of them already exist. I've told you that we in the private sector, we're already using some of those textbooks. Many materials are there online. If you need to pay copyrights, get those texts online, put them together, release them to state ministries of education. Let the state ministry of education quickly have seminars and workshops. Let lesson plans therefore flow, and every other thing that they need to do,
right.
so that at the end of the day, we can fumble and wobble for the first term. By second term, we should stabilize.
All right.
It's possible.
Architect,
we have admitted it that we have started out wrongly. Yeah. But do you now say because you had, yes, we have had a false start, okay? And then you will say, okay, perhaps we should start again. But you can also assume that sometimes what you consider a false start is a bad start. And the race is not going to stop. The rest of the world will not wait for you.
So you just have to get up and chase.
And continue.
All right. I'll come back to you very shortly. I'll come back to you. Let me go over to Mr. Onyia very quickly. Mr. Onyia, are you still with us?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, talking about the WAEC plan by WAEC, that's the West Africa Examination Council, Nigeria, to go full CBT for next year. Let's look at some of the challenges. You said it before that actually when I raised the issue of power, in our schools, electricity power supply, you said we can have solar power supply. But the question is, let's look at the feasibility right now. Between now and next year's WAEC, for WAEC to run a CBT exam, it means all the schools have to be powered with electricity. So what is the feasibility of ensuring? Because you are saying, you said that WAEC will do it, that it will go ahead, no doubt about that. Now my question is, what is the feasibility? If WAEC is going to run CBT for next year's exam, how are they going to power all the schools? Because without electricity, electric power supply, you can't write CBT. So how do you think WAEC intends to solve that critical challenge?
So for me, WAEC has, they have a dream. I'm sure that is the minister that basically enforced it. And I can imagine that probably when they were having that deliberation, WAEC itself will be saying, sir, let's wait. The minister says we must do it. This is probably how the deliberation will look like.
You are putting this on the doorstep of the minister, but actually that decision has been made 2 years ago, and it has been reinforced again. I'm sorry I brought in by the head of national office, Dr. Amos Dangote, and he gave the assurance again this week on Tuesday. You may go ahead.
So what I'm trying to play a scenario in my head. Why I'm saying this is that, I mean, I've been trying to follow up the news. The plan is you are telling schools if you have 50 computers, you can be a center. You need to have to minimum of 250 computers. And if you don't have, they will have to put your students to another center. So you just keep dishing out laws and laws and laws as if it's a plan. For me, that's actually not a plan. What I'm thinking that should even make sense, probably must have had partnership with different financing agencies. You know what? Let's introduce or even from the federal government, let's have subsidies, the technology integration subsidies. So a private school, probably, you know what, we're going to, for you to get 100 computers, we're going to subsidize it, give you 80% of the cost for you to take 20. So we can make you the center. In terms of the power, let's work with different partners so that we can rapidly deploy this across different schools. So these are the things that looks more practicable. And then the schools already have some of this already. There should be a team doing a reassessment, computer reassessment, because JAM worked with different independent centers, which those centers are people's businesses and they earn profit from it. WAEC can't use exactly JAM module because JAM is exam for 1 day. WAEC takes several days and it requires a lot more resources.
Absolutely.
Right, to be able to achieve it. So based on what I've seen so far, I haven't really had any actual plan. What I've seen is basically dishing out new rules every day for schools, and they expect schools to absorb it or figure it out. So that's it, and that's why I could actually see a lot of challenges, because we may be talking about schools in urban areas. By the time you start going into remote places, you start seeing that the challenges will be too much. Let's say there's just one school that has access to these computers, and the rest of schools probably have to travel an hour to get to the new school. So these are the things that I can easily foresee.
All right, Mr. Onyia, talking about the challenges there, you don't even have to go too far. You don't have to go to rural places. Right here in Osogbo, the last WAEC that was written, English language paper, students were writing in darkness. And we're not talking about, rural places now, even in urban centers. So that was my concern why I raised that question. And for the sake of our viewers, Onyia is actually the learning tablet that was introduced some time ago in Osun State. Let me come back to you, Architect Omigbodun, right? So you are in the private sector. And according to you, this is not new to you. And I quite like your ideas, the way you said you would handle it if given the opportunity. Now, you've been running this before. You said you've been teaching your students about robotics. That is not new to you.
No,
now, for the sake of our viewers and for those in the public sector, as far as education is concerned, what is the cost to your students? Just give us an idea. I'm just curious because the other time you said you had to, airlift your students to Abuja for a robotics competition, whatever. Now the training, which means you have teachers who train them. What is the cost? I mean, what should we expect? What should the students anticipate in terms of costs as far as this training is concerned?
Are you talking of in the private sector now or in the public sector? Because
you're in the private sector, yes. So
the public
definitely
sector is supposed to be free education.
But it's not free, architect.
If education was right in Nigeria, many people in the private education sector should not be there, because there are a lot of, I'm sorry to say, but this is the fact, a lot of also mushroom schools that are private sector driven, but because they are still better than
public schools,
people will still allow their children to go there. So costs will have to do with offers, and so it may be difficult for me to be telling you.
No, like a bare minimum. Like you can actually tell us that.
I may not be able to tell you. Look, for instance, I can remember as far back as year 2020, when there was the COVID-19 and schools were not open. We decided in our school to use Google Classrooms and WhatsApp and other. So we told...
As online learning for the
students.
Yes.
So we started our online learning then, and certain children had laptops, others had handsets, and I remember going to particular distributors of handsets to tell the parents, I negotiated with them, and I told the parents, I've negotiated with these people, just mention the name of the school, and they will sell to you at so discount. And there were different offers. So it will depend on choices when it comes to things like that. But if it has to do with the public education sector, those things have to be provided. And don't tell me it is not possible. One governor did it here in Osun State. Rauf Aregbesola provided tablets for the children. So what is it that cannot, and if I remember, that's more than 8 years ago. So who says it still cannot be done? Right. It can be done. But let me also make a few remarks about certain things I had earlier on. There are always minor reviews to the curriculum. So you could have a major review in 2011 and another one coming in between, and even before were minor reviews. There is one, for instance, that I always refer to. There was a minor review in 2009, which was now formalized in 2011, that history be taken off our curriculum. But there was a lot of hue and cry and people, and by 2019, far ahead of this now review, history was restored to the curriculum. It's unfortunate even our present Minister of Education is not aware that the history had been restored as far back as 2019.
Because of time. So there will always be reviews.
There will always be minor reviews. And then these major reviews will now take care of those minor reviews that took place all along the line and will now be properly documented and formalized.
Gentlemen, because we are hosting them right now, let me ask you questions. Let me start with you and then I'll go to Alan at the other end. Talking about new development as well, is that some state governments are concerned about the use of, because you talked about books earlier, an essential part of learning, that there's this thing that we've had these days that books cannot be reused by siblings. Actually, that used to be the case, and I can see you making a face right now. Because when textbooks are bought and it's used very well, the younger sibling can pick it up, but most of the textbooks that we have right now cannot be reused because some of those assignments, homework, classworks are done inside, and it's causing financial burden. I remember a couple of state governments have said, no, that should be reviewed as well. And 2 instances. The other one might look mundane, but I've seen it firsthand, is the ban of some of these end-of-the-year parties or school graduation parties from primary classes. And I've seen many that looks like a burden, really. when some of these students, I mean pupils, showed up like they are going to Met Gala and they are wearing ashwebi and they are wearing some of these things, putting huge financial pressure on students. And some of these state government are saying, please, let children be children. Basic things can still be here. So 2 questions, if you can answer that in 2 minutes, and then I'll go to Alex, because these are the new developments.
Okay.
I think Benue State is on it, Ondo State is on it. Many states are doing that as well. Starting with books.
I didn't get, what about books?
The books is that books should be made in a way that you don't have to, you understand.
Now I remember, because I
can be reused.
I was smiling while you were saying it. You know,
so the parent doesn't have to buy every year.
Yes, I'll quickly. Within that minute, I'll give an illustration of myself. Right. You know, I just finished my studies, bachelor's in theology from Emmanuel College of Theology and Christian Education in Ibadan. And usually, of course, you will want to look at past examinations to see what are the likely questions to come out. But there is one particular lecturer there. You will answer his questions inside the question paper.
So you don't go away with the questions.
Nobody ever has passed questions of that's why I smiled that this is exactly what is happening here too. Publishers also want to make money. So they don't want Goke to use a book and pass it on to Femi. So they want Goke to do work in his own book so that when it's Femi's turn, he has to buy it.
So who pays?
The parents have to pay. That's the truth of the matter. And whether we like it or not, look, these children have only one life. And then this issue of whether they should ban graduation in, that will be prying into private lives of people.
So it should be discretionary.
It should be discretionary because I believe from my experiences in life as a father that there must be landmarks that you will celebrate in your children so that they look forward to those landmarks and recognize.
Children going from crèche to KG1 to primary.
No. If you are leaving preschool, we can celebrate you. You have done something. You begin to have a sense of achievement. You are leaving primary school. Right. I'm not saying that the celebrations should be flamboyant, but there should be celebrations at each level. In fact, one of the things that this new curriculum is going to introduce is that the basic education now will now be SS3.
All right.
There will not be the intermediate JS3.
All right. Let me go to Alex.
All right.
I'm sorry. You just need your final take on some of these things.
Okay. So honestly, when I read about for the textbooks and the rest, for me, it's good, but I didn't want to pay so much attention to it because I noticed that all the state governors started copying the template. For me, it's a lot of distraction. There's a lot of other more important things to do. It's okay. There's nothing much to say about it. So, but there's a lot of other important things to do.
We must sincerely thank you, gentlemen. Today, CEO Educare, Alex Onyia, and I believe I call my southeast tongue.
Onyia.
Has gotten directly. Thank you, Mr. Onyia, for your time and your take this morning and for the good work you do for young people.
Thank you.
All right, and of course, the architect himself is a friend of the house. He's a father and of course a proprietor. Thank you for your time and your take.
Always my pleasure to be with you.
All right.
It's just that each time I come here, I see Daniel in the studio, never in the lion's den.
I'm not sure you want to go and check him in the lion's den.
Perhaps I'll take you to see my den one of these days.
The lion has left the den since Daniel's days. Why are you still looking for trouble for Daniel? I think that this Daniel is dead town, and he's not the other one in Pasha. All right, Femi Oje's man, a big shout out to the production team has worked with us all through the week. Let's have a very, interesting weekend. And whatever you do, please be responsible. But very importantly, please stay alive. Again, I'm Femi Oje. We'll see you on Monday.
And absolutely do have a fantastic weekend. Dan Ziggy is my name, a.k.a. Daniel Maker. Thank you for joining us.
Interesting.